Assalamualaikum, and today we are talking about the religion of Eva. This is where we will continue today. So I will start now. Religion of Arabs. Most of the Arabs has complied with the call of Ismail and professed the religion of his father Ibrahim. They worship Allah, profess his oneness, and follow by his religion a long time until they forgot part of what they had been reminded of. However, they still maintain fundamental beliefs such as monotheism, as well as various other aspects of Ibrahim religion. Until the time when a chief of Khuza'ah, namely Amir bin Luhai, came back from a trip to Syria, he was renowned for righteousness, charity, devotion, and care for the religion, and was granted unreserved love and obedience by his tribesmen. In Syria, he saw people worshipping idols, a phenomenon he approved of and believed it to be the righteous, since Syria was the local of messengers and scriptures. He brought with him an idol, Hobal, which he placed in the middle of Al-Kaabah and summoned people to worship it. Readily enough, idolatry spread all over Mecca and thence to Hijaz. People of Mecca being custodians of not only the sacred house but the whole harem as well. A great many idols bearing different names were introduced into the area. An idol called Manat was worshipped at Al-Musalla near Qudais on the Red Sea. Another Al-Tad and Ta'if, a third Al-Uzza in the valley of Nakhla, and so on and forth. Polytheism prevailed and the number of idols increased everywhere in Hijaz. Amir bin Luhai, with the help of a jinn companion who told him that the idols of Noah, Fok, Wa'uswa, Yaqub, and Nasser were buried in Jeddah, dug them out and took them to Tihama. Upon pilgrimage time, these idols were distributed among the tribes to take back home. Every tribe and house had their own idols, and the sacred house was overcrowded with them. On the Prophet conquest of Mecca, 360 idols were found around Al-Kaaba. He broke them down and had it removed and burned up. Polytheism and worship of idols became the most prominent feature of the religion of pre-Islam Arabs, despite alleged profession of Ibrahim religion. Tradition and ceremony of the worship of their idol had been mostly created by Amir bin Luhai and were deemed as good innovation rather than deviation from Ibrahim religion. Some features of their worship idol were self-devotion to the idol, seeking refuge with them, uttering oath in their name, calling for their help in hardship, and supplication to them fulfillment of wishes, believing that the idol could intercede before Allah for the fulfillment of prophet wishes. 2. Performing pilgrimage to the idol, circulating around them, humiliating themselves, and even prostrating themselves before them. 3. Seeking favor of the idol through various kinds of sacrifice in their name. These sacrifices were mentioned by Allah in His saying, and that which is sacrificed on an-nusub. Allah also says, eat not of that meat on which Allah's name had not been pronounced at the time of the slaughtering of the animals. And 4. Devotion of certain point of food, drink, cattle, crop to idols. Surprisingly enough, persons were also devoted to Allah Himself, but people often found reasons to transfer part of Allah's portion to idols, but never did the opposite. To this effect, Allah said, and they assigned to Allah a share of the tilth and cattle which He has created, and they say this is for Allah according to their pretense, and this is for our partners, but the share of their partners wishes not Allah, while the share of Allah is their partners. Evil is the way they judge. 5. Speaking favor with these idols through vow of offering and crops and cattle, as Allah mentioned, and according to their pretending, they say that such and such cattle and crops are forbidden, and none should eat of them except those whom we allow, and they are cattle forbidden to be used for burden or any other work, and cattle on which the name of Allah is not pronounced, lying against Him. 6. Dedication of certain animals such as Bahira, Sa'iba, Wasilah, and Hami to idols. This means sparing such animals from useful work for the sake of the heathen gods. The Bahira, as reported by a well-known historian Ibn Ishaq, was the daughter of Sa'iba, a female camel that gave birth to 10 successive females but no male. It was then set free and all were forbidden to tie her, burden her, shear off her wool, or milk her, but for the guests to drink from. And so was done to all her female offspring, which were given the name Bahira. After having their ears slit, the Wasila was a female sheep that had 10 successive female daughters in 5 pregnancies. Any new birth from this Wasila were assigned only for use or consumption by males, and Hami. The Hami was a male camel which produced 10 progressive females and was thus similarly forbidden. It is about this practice that Allah revealed. Allah has not instituted things like Bahira or Sa'iba or Wasila or Ham, but those who disbelieve invent lies against Allah, and most of them have no understanding. Allah also says, and they say, what is in their belly of such and such cattle, milk or fetus, is for our males alone, and forbidden to our female, girls and women. But it is born dead, then all have shed therein. Additional types of cattle are also mentioned in this regard. Sa'id bin al-Musayyib stated clearly that this kind of cattle were dedicated to their false god. It has been unethically reported from the Prophet that such superstitions were first invented by Amir bin Luhai. These Arabs did all of this for their idol, believing that such idol would bring them nearer to Allah, lead to Him, and mediate with Him for their sake, to which effect the Quran goes, we worship them only that they may bring us near to Allah, and they worship Allah things that hurt them, not profit them, and they say these are our intercessor with Allah. Our divinatory tradition among the Arabs was casting of Azlam, fearless arrows which were of 3 kinds, one showing yes, another showing no, and the third was blank. They would utilize them in case of serious matter like travel, marriage, and the like. If the draw showed yes, they would do. If no, they would delay for the next year. Other kinds of Aslam were cast for water, blood money, or soap from you, not from you, or mulsak, which means associated. In case of doubt, invalidity of the sal, they will resort to the idol of Hubal with the 100 camel gift for the arrow caster. Only the arrow would then decide the sort of relationship. If the arrow showed from you, then it was decided that the sal belonged to the tribe. If it showed not from you, he would then be regarded as an ally. But if Mulsak appeared, the person would retain his position but with no lineage or alliance contract. This was very much like gambling and arrow shifting, whereby they used to divide the meat of the camel they slaughtered according to the drift. tradition. Moreover, they used to have a deep conviction in the tidings of soothsayers, diviners, and astrologers. Of soothsayer used to heal in the business of foretelling future events and claim knowledge of private secret and having jinn subordinates who would communicate the news to him. Diviner claimed that they could uncover the unknown by means of a granted power, while others boasted they would reveal the secret to a cause and effect inductive process that would lead to detecting a stolen commodity, the location of a theft, a stray animal, and like the astrologer belong to a third category, observing the star and calculating their movement and orbit wherever he would foretell the future. Conviction of the news provided by the astrologer was in a reality a belief in the star. So part of believing the astrology was to have faith in the position of a particular star. They would say we will deliver rain because of the position of this star. The belief in Oman foretelling future events was of course common among the Arabians. Some days, months, and particularly animals were regarded as ominous. They also believed that the soul of a murdered person would fly in the wilderness and would never be at rest until revenge was taken. That superstition was widespread. Should a deer or bird, when released, turn white, then what they embark on the regarded favorable, otherwise they would get negative and refrain from pursuing it. The people of the pre-Islamic period, whilst believing in superstition, still retain some of the Abrahamic traditions such as devotion to Al-Kaaba, circumambulation, observance of pilgrimage, the stay at the Arafah, and the offering of sacrifice. All of these were observed despite some innovation that adulterated and their sacredness. The Quraysh, for example, saying that they were the descendants of Ibrahim, custodian of Al-Kaaba, the inhabitant of Mecca, no Arab beside them having the same status or right that they do. For this reason, they refer to themselves al-Homs, and they would refrain from going to Arafat with the crowd. Instead, they would short at Muzdalifah. It was about this that the following was revealed. Then depart from the place when all the people depart. Another heresy deeply established in their social tradition dictated that they would not eat dry yogurt or cooking fat, nor would they enter a tent made of camel hair or silk shade unless in a house of adobe brick, so long as they were in Ihrim, the sacred state of the pilgrimage. They also, out of a deeply rooted misconception, denied pilgrims other than Meccans access to the food they brought when they wanted to make pilgrimage or a lesser pilgrimage. They ordered pilgrims coming from outside Mecca to circumambulate Al-Kaaba, including provided by al-Homs. But if they could not acquire them, men were to do in a state of nudity, and women with only some open shirt. Allah said in this concern, all children of Adam, take your adornment to every masjid. If men or women were generous enough to go around Al-Kaaba in their clothes, they had to discard them after circumambulation for good. When the Meccans were in the sacred house of pilgrimage, they would not enter their house through the doors, but through holes they used to dig in the back walls. They used to regard such behavior as deep piety and God-fearing. The Quran prohibited this practice. It is not albeit piety righteousness that you enter the house from the back of albeit. It is the quality of the one who fears Allah. So enter houses through their proper doors. and fear Allah that you may be successful. Such was the religious life in Arabia, full of polytheism, idolatry, and superstition. Judaism, Christianity, Messianism, and Sabianism, however, could find their way easily into Arabia. The migration of the Jews from Palestine to Arabia passed through two phases. First, as a result of the pressure to which they were exposed, the destruction of their temple and taking most of them as captives to Babylon at the hand of the king of Bukhtanasar in the year BC 587. Some Jews left Palestine for Hijaz and settled in the northern areas thereof. The second phase started with the Roman occupation of Palestine under the leadership of the Roman Brutus in 70 CE. This resulted in a tidal wave of Jewish migration into Hijaz and Yathrib, Kaiba and Taimur in particular. Here they converted many tribes to their faith, but built forts and castles and lived in villages. Judaism managed to play an important role in the pre-Islam political life. When Islam dawned on that land, there had already been several famous Jewish tribes: Kabir, al-Mustalik, Andir, An-Nadir, Qurayza, and Kainuka. As-Samhudi mentioned that the Jewish tribe counted as many as 20. Judaism was introduced into Yemen by someone called As'ad Abi Ka'b. He had gone to fight in Yathrib, and there he embraced Judaism and went back taking with him two rabbis from Bani Qurayza to instruct people of Yemen in this new religion. Their Judaism found fertile ground to propagate and gain adherents after his death. His son Yusuf Nawas rose to power, attacked the Christian community in Najran and ordered them to embrace Judaism. When they refused, he ordered that a pit of fire would be dug and all the Christians be dropped to burn therein. Estimates say that between 20 or 40,000 Christians were killed in that human massacre. This occurred in October 523 CE. The Quran related part of that story in chapter Al-Buruj. Christianity first made its appearance in Arabia following the entry of the Abyssinian and Roman colonies into that country. Abyssinian presence began in 340 CE and lasted until 378 CE. It was with them that the Christian religion entered Yemen. It was approximately this time a Christian missionary called Firmian, known for his selfless behavior and working miracles, had entered into Najran. There he called people to Christianity, and by virtue of his honesty and truthful devotion, he managed to persuade them to respond positively to his innovation and embrace Christianity. The Abyssinian colonizing force entered Yemen again in 525 CE. It was a retaliation for the injustice of Jew Nawas, and they started to zealously propagate their faith. They even built a church and called it Yemeni Al-Kaabah with the aim of directing the Arab pilgrimage caravan towards Yemen, and then made an attempt to demolish the sacred house in Mecca. Allah the Almighty, however, punished them and made an example of them. Here ended hereafter. The principal tribe that embraced Christianity were Ghassan, Talik, Tai, and some Himyarite king, as well as other tribes living on the borders of the Roman Empire. Messianism were also popular among the Arabs living in the neighborhood of Persia, Iraq, Bahrain, Al-Asr, and some area of the Arabian Gulf Coast. Some Yemenis are also reported to have professed Magianism during the Persian occupation. As for Sabinism, excavation in Iraq revealed that it had been popular among Chaldean folks. The Syrians and Yemenis, with the advance of Judaism and Christianity, however, Sabianism began to give way to the new religion. Although it retained some followers mixed or adjacent to the Magians in Iraq and the Arabian Gulf. So now we are talking about the religious situation, such as the religious life of the Arabians before the advent of Islam. The role that the prevalent religion played was only marginal. The politics who faked Ibrahimism were detached from its principle and inherent good manners. They were indulged into disobedience, ungodliness, and certain peculiar superstition that managed to leave a serious impact on the religious and socio-political life in the whole of Arabia. Judaism turned into repulsive hypocrisy along with the control of the power. Rabbis turned into laws to the exclusion of the law. Their sole target became the gaining of wealth and power, even if it were at the risk of losing their religion, or the emergence of atheism and disbelief. Christianity, likewise, opened its door right to polytheism and got too difficult to figure out as a heavenly religion. As a religion practice, it developed a sort of peculiar mix of man and God. It has exercised no bearing whatsoever on the soul of the Arabs, who accepted it simply because it has no concern and their style of life and did not have the least leadership with their practical life. People of other religions were similar to polytheists with respect to their inclinations, dogmas, custom, and tradition. So, in summary, it is talking about the religions before Islam, especially before Prophet Muhammad was born. And this is my first time finding out that the Quraysh were the descendants of Ibrahim. And also at that time, many uh, people believe in superstition, which caused like cause how should I say it, that out to be obviously a bad thing. And the last topic or the last text that I read, that many people who make about it or who worship the idol, especially not Judaism, and some of the people from Judaism can be full of hypocrisy. So that is it, all I have to say about the text. So goodbye and assalamualaikum.